All right, we're live. Actually, go ahead and I think I'm gonna go ahead and paste this link to. I'm gonna paste this to my Ibmore channel thing. So, oh, there he is. Okay, cool. Hold on, AB, just a second. Your channel. Da, 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 da. Since we don't have since we can't get in on it, so whatever reason, we don't have to. We can give our feedback here. Probably have more people watch us. All right. Ooh, the wrong thing. Okay, I don't want that. Delete. Leave that one. Delete that. Let's try this again. Your channel. Post. There we go. All right. That's better. As invite. Copy. Paste. Here you guys go. And then we're going to go ahead and bring up our guest of honors.
When he was younger.
Possibly so. Probably got stolen.
You think he's credit?
Probably got
I don't know why they go through this inviting us and Darren's calling us out and
Yeah,
making
it's
us
not
waste
letting me
3
do the
hours.
stream.
Huh?
I don't
Not
see the
what?
dual
Okay.
stream thing.
Okay. Hold on a second. Got it?
Hold on. Let me come back and get out and come back in.
You see it? No.
Oh, I see it, unfortunately, because
You
it's
you see it?
it's on the
You
right
don't,
side.
huh?
It would be on the right side. I know what I'm looking for as
Oh,
well.
you looking for the simulcast stream? Is that what you look for?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I have to hit a switch. I think. Uh, uh, 'cause I think I have to do something from my side. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, since we're here, for the record, fuck Nick Fuentes,
Okay.
loser.
Okay. Oh, you wanted to simulcast this on your channel? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, you said do a dual stream. That's
No,
what
I said
that's what-
well, I would just, in other words, just come over here and simulcast this one.
okay.
Unless you really want to do it on your channel.
No, this is fine.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. You good? Okay.
hmm
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. With Nick Fuentes, and yeah, he is who he is, man. The
Yeah,
hell, the right doesn't even like Nick Fuentes.
that's the thing. Like, why does anybody care what he thinks? Nobody likes him. Neither side likes him.
It's because he's an oddball. He's an incel, and he's an oddball,
hmm
and he represents a certain segment of white people, white boys. Okay.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, one thing I can't, I don't understand his sexual proclivity, but the thing is, one thing I can say, he is far right. It's about as far to the right as you can. He's going all the way back to wanting kings and queens.
Okay.
That's how
Good
far
luck.
right he is.
Okay.
He's an authoritarian. So,
But
but
I wasn't really paying attention to them. I was just listening in. You
yeah,
know, uh, getting my ready for my show later.
okay.
You feel me?
Yeah, but then they called us out. They said they wanted us to come on up and all this kind of stuff. And
Oh, using the back?
huh? Now I was in the chat. I went in the back, but
Oh, okay.
I didn't even hit the link to come in the back. I was just waiting to see if they were gonna call anybody up. But Paradox is not keen on that, so it's probably what it is.
Yeah.
He didn't like the conflict, Uh, I don't know why DC just doesn't host it himself. Or you want to smoke and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, let's go ahead and listen in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Wait, let me see.
Let me see. No, he's not on there. I thought he was
Yeah,
on there.
that's not
My
it.
bad.
Yeah, I didn't think.
But
Yeah,
my bad. They had his picture though. He had his picture in here. So is it this one then maybe?
I don't know.
I don't understand it.
Is it this white guy right here?
I don't understand the choices of why they pick what they pick, even with Jasmine Crockett. Now, the thing I saw with Jasmine Crockett, with those two white women, man, I hate that shit because I was, how long was a member of Pacifica from '89 to God? It's got to be after 2001, 2003, and them little white women, the liberal white women that smile and wink with the firebrand black women, man, I've been seeing that shit for years. I got tired of that shit. That's why I call them limousine liberals. Why they kiss up to you and blah 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 and push you out when you're fighting for their cause, but they'll also stab you in the back too.
Yeah.
So I know that's why. I'm sure she knows it too. Go ahead.
That's one of the reasons I've given up on the Democrat Party. And let them rock.
Yeah. Yeah, and the black one they always kid you're so nice, and they give them little tea and crumpets and stuff like that, and black women smile and they feel validated and stuff like that, and let's push Keisha out there and let her say it because she's better at saying it than we are, and we're too genteel we're not as
we're too cowardly, genteel,
genteel, and we can't get out there say it, but she can because she's built for it, and they push her right on out there and let her run her mouth and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And May didn't think I caught her sneak this talking about on them talking about you guys got black dudes like Cory Booker and what's the other dude's name? Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah.
And we don't give a shit about them. So what? Like we don't consider them our leaders. I don't know why you brought them up.
White liberals. Well, we got to remember all people in America are liberal. Okay.
Yes.
Even you really don't think so, but even the far right is very liberal.
Yes.
Okay. I think Fuentes is probably the except. That's like most of the so-called right doesn't like Nick Fuentes, is because he's a real authoritarian. He's really a right. Globally, he would be called right wing. Okay. I mean globally, because he believes in authoritarian rule. Most right wingers. Especially the what we call the far right, or not authoritarian. Okay, they don't believe in that shit. They believe in individual rights. Don't step on my land. The government has no right to intrude on my state. Don't tread on me. They believe in don't tread on me. That is liberalism to the score. That is not right wing. That is not conservative. That is libertarian all day long. Anyway, I'm play some more.
Yeah, they're focusing on
So German, Swedish, Nordic, Finnish, Switzerland, Holland. What's the area called? What's those countries called up there? The Netherlands.
The closest you have to it. Well, the closest you have to it is not as aggressive, but the closest you have to it is like a Richard Spencer type.
That's all we get.
What's the other guy? Matt.
Matt Walsh. He gets something in there. Yeah, these are mutts, bro. These are mutts. Yeah, these are still kind of half breeds. These are half breeds. Ashkenazi Jewish. And they're hiding. Yeah, they're all hiding. They're all hiding.
Hiding in plain sight. Yeah. Going hard too.
I want to get a pale skin,
you want a Mitt Romney type.
Blue blood, green vein, pale skin, hardcore, hyper white German to talk that talk. Because even Hitler couldn't live up to his ideology of the pixie nose blonde bitch or the Viking. I want a Viking. I want the ones that went and conquered Europe, that turned all of Europe into bitches and made them bend the knee. You know what I'm saying? I want those. Where are those people at? You know what I'm saying? Like, we get these
Those are Russians, okay?
Yeah.
Those are Russians, okay? You want those kind of people, those kind of Nordic people, those are Russians, okay?
But we cannot get I can never, you know what I'm saying? I want a Joe Biden. Shit. A George, give me something to work with, right?
This
JD Vance is about as close to that ideal as you want. Okay.
Yeah, he is.
JD Vance looks just like him.
or the audio.
You do know this man is from like what's that little
Southern
island?
European country. Southern Europe.
What's the little island in Italy called? That's really African, probably. Sicily.
It's fine, but
Sicily,
the video
yeah.
cuts in and out a little bit. Jake, why are you leading this protest in Frisco, Texas tomorrow?
Jason, thanks for having me on. You know, normally I'm very jovial when I join your program. Just getting out of prison. 86.
Here we go, Frisco, Texas.
Hello?
This is what I love this. I love this. CC. Do you understand the folks that I have been following have been talking about this forever. I mean forever. And we are in a beautiful moment in history right now where Trump is in power and they're able to express them. I don't want to oppress white people. I don't want to oppress them. I want them to please talk about black violence against white people. Let's talk about how you feel. Let me know. You gotta let it out, or it becomes January 6th. Because I'm gonna tell you something: white folks on the left suppressing white folks on the right.
Yeah,
it actually targets black people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I'm trying to say. And they get to hide too. They get to hide, and the right don't really. I think some of them on the right recognize that's what's happening, and they're cool with it because that's the only way that they can get in power sometimes. But the truth is that is what's happening, bro. That's what's happening. Yeah.
6 days ago from a presidential pardon. You know, this is the type of thing where justice needs to be served. In this case, we have a killer on the loose, which you have said multiple times here.
And I'm gonna let me set myself for the future, the next 18 months. I do know they're gonna stack this, and it's gonna force me to shift. I think because I know what's coming. I know it's coming. I don't know when or how or what way it's coming, but I know it's coming.
This man killed Austin Metcalf in cold blood. And there used to be sacred honor amongst men, a time where we could grieve, where the...
Notice,
where's the due process?
Notice the Christian cross, okay?
Do you see how the language shifts when it's like on the opposite side of it? That's all I'm saying.
I love it. I love it. That's all good. But I will let me start to protect myself here a little bit.
No protect it. Just let it No, you fought. No, bro. No, sir. I can't. No. We gotta.
Let me say a little bit.
How come they don't pick the black folks from the other side saying the opposite thing? Like Tim Black. Tim Black has been on this forever, right? And says the exact opposite. But anyway, that's I don't know where they're going with this, really. Do you?
Nope.
I don't know why this guy is important. Yeah, he's going to protest. Well, I don't even know who this guy is.
And show up and show support for senseless violence. This is senseless violence. And they have stolen that from us. Part of the PSYOP with January 6th was to try to turn people away from exercising their God-given rights. And that's what we're doing today. We're standing up. I am a white American. I am Jewish by bloodline, Christian by faith.
Of course.
Jewish by bloodline. but the original reboot of the Conservative was a Jewish guy, okay? Jewish, okay? So the right, the right as we call it today, was booted by a Jewish guy, okay?
Okay.
So I don't know, and Jewish people been white forever, right? Ashkenazi, it doesn't matter. They're still Eastern European white.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of indifferent on this case in particular because I see bullshit on both sides, and I just want to see how it plays out.
I just, I just want to see what actually happened because even with all this attention, we still don't know really what happened. It's still cloudy. Even though you had 30 people out there watching, it wasn't like Trayvon Martin, where only maybe a couple of people actually saw it or even heard it. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you had this was in a public event, and we still 3 weeks later we still can't get a clear picture about what really happened. So I don't know.
Yeah,
And as far as the law, they're really trying to keep this thing a lid on this stuff. Okay, on both
good
sides.
luck.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Good luck. And black folks is just as bad as the white folks.
That's what I'm saying. I see bullshit on both sides in this case, so I'm like, okay, let me just watch this play out and see what actually happens.
Yeah. That's like I only like talking about it, but I guess it's meat. Was it meat for the meat for
At least he knows to identify himself. And that'll help balance things out. Because see, Whitlock has to deal with thinking that race is only on the left and being trapped in that environment. And that the right, because of his ignorance,
Whitlock is not ignorant. He knows exactly. He's from Missouri. He knows exactly what race is. So don't bullshit yourself. It's a character he plays. He's playing his role. Yeah, the motherfucker's from Missouri. He knows exactly what race.
Valdez actually interviewed him.
Oh, did he?
Had a chance to interview him. It was pretty good.
Oh, Whitlock?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't let the right gaslight you as a non-white person no different than on the left you can do it. Jasmine Crockett has to be very careful that she doesn't get into that trap. The same with Jason Whitlock on the right. But anyway, I know why you're quiet, by the way.
Ah.
I know why you're quiet. I'm not gonna go all the way, by the way. But I know why you're quiet, just to put that out there.
I'm sure they'll complain about. He'll complain about us doing this too. But,
there are millions.
What?
I'm sure he'll complain about us doing this too. So, but
Oh, good. That's why I did. But the thing is, you came to my channel, said we need to show up when you drop the link, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right after the Black Brain Trust says the exact calling us out on the exact same thing, right? And we wait 3 fucking hours, okay, to have a comment on as you go back and forth on whatever you're talking about, right? It's they're what? Yeah, they're 3 hours, over 3 hours in.
Damn, I wasn't even watching, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're over 3 hours in, and you called us out,
Mm-hmm. Called me out last week. And
yeah.
The thing was that they were simping so hard for Jasmine. I was like, you know what? There's no point in me getting involved in this conversation. I'm gonna let them make themselves look stupid.
Yeah, I don't get their attraction to Jasmine Crockett. I really don't. I mean, because she's loud and obnoxious. Is that it? Okay, because I mean, what substance does she really have?
As much as I hate the Democrats, I've met too many black congresswomen, and those women, she doesn't compare. There's no comparison to the ones I've actually met.
Yeah, like I said, I've been knowing, and Maxine Waters is pretty boisterous. Okay, but nowhere to the level of this kind of shit, man. She would never. She says some stuff, but she's nowhere to the level of this kind of I can't say coonery, if that's a word.
Yeah,
because she's straight up cooning. And the thing is, Maxine Waters, say if what's his name called her out, Maxine out, she'd find a way to meet him. Okay, they find a way to meet him, and she would never have called out his wife. Okay.
Oh, Byron
Donald. Yeah, she insulted him, insulted his wife, and she don't want to
debate him.
Congress, and she don't want to debate him or talk to him, and they're in Congress together. Come on.
Yeah, he ain't scared, so it ain't like you can tell me he's scared. He ain't scared of her.
No, he said all he said was name the place. Maxine would have never backed down. Okay. Oh, they dropped the link again.
Oh my gosh.
Why it's 3 hours in, man. Ain't nobody would want to come up now. Shit.
Calling out this protest and this gathering with hatred, but we have consistently said we want to uplift the black community, return the modesty, the dignity, the love that they used to share with the white community of the Martin Luther King era, where they.
Jeffrey Massey, the thing is, people think this is, when did he stab the kid, man? On the second, it hasn't even been 3 weeks yet, okay? And people blowing up, man, like this has been going on for years. I've seen more. This is more intense than any other case I've ever seen. Okay, you would think that them white boys marched down to his house and pulled him out and shot him or something like that. Man, the way they're carrying on.
Yeah, and that family press conference did not help at all.
Uh,
They had that one dude standing up there talking about we blame the school and we're gonna. What about what the school's response? I'm like, okay. That's why I'm just sitting back. I'm like, okay, let me just step back and watch what happens.
watch it. Yeah, watch what happens. Yeah, I mean, there's only so much. Well, anybody's ever gone to school. There's only so much the school can do. Okay, short of
how was they supposed to know that was going to happen?
They didn't. Short of there are procedures that's supposed to be provided. The thing is, I'm sure it's more about money. You can have security guards and metal detectors at every event, especially a small track event when you're going to have a few hundred people. Doesn't make sense.
You have a few hundred people, and nothing usually happens anyway. So
nothing usually happens anyway. So that but they have implemented the actual rules now to prevent other shit from going on. But yeah,
understandable. But yeah.
Ooh, chaos. Where you at?
I'm outside, man. You know how it's we gotta be outside.
I know.
Let me mute myself. Let me mute myself for a second.
Thank you. Ooh. I don't know why y'all think you can come on with all that noise, man. Jesus Christ, you wouldn't want me to do that shit. So where are you? There's a lot of noise.
What are they talking about now?
Purim, out of many.
I finally figured out the real difference between a Masato knife and the ordinary stuff. We've all seen
y'all make money. Pay for it. Come on, pay for
you're
you.
Wearing a cross. You part of your survival in prison was turning to the Bible.
Wait a minute, he was in prison.
The racial idolatry that you're talking about, and
get the fuck out of here.
White people.
All right, I'm ready to be just
being attacked.
Okay.
I'm sitting here as a black man.
Are
I
we
got
not
the
being
same
attacked,
data.
Jameson? Are we not being attacked? Do you turn on your X feed every day and see dozens and
Jake,
dozens
let me
of
finish.
videos of white people being attacked by black people? I'm asking you a question. Do you see that or not?
Put Jake on pause. Put Jake on pause. Put Jake on pause or hold. Jake, I'm not interrupting you. I'm gonna let you speak for as long as you want to speak. But I get to talk on this show too. And so what you said, there's truth to what you said, but there's also this truth. This black pagan culture that has been adopted among a mass number of black people.
Yeah, that's true. He ain't lying.
You ain't wrong about that.
He ain't lying.
Black people than white people.
No.
That does not excuse what is happening to black people. What white people.
I'm not here to address that today. I'm here to stand for my community.
I got it. Put him back on pause. Let me finish my point.
See,
Can I tell you a little secret, BGS?
Can we mute him for a second?
See, that's the part that.
Say what?
No, can I tell you a little secret, BGS? When they did that stream, and then have y'all. The reason why they did that, and you should caught this much sooner, BGS. They want you there in the chat to listen. They now don't want you to bring up there. So to let you know the presence is known.
No,
that's why that's why they did that.
I understand, but I did it to me and AB did it to do what? Prove a point, okay?
Yeah.
Because what are they gonna say if we don't show up? Chaos.
They say you're retreating or
what's all the noise in the background with you, man? What's going on?
I'm on the road.
Oh, okay.
But I'll say this. They'll say anything, and like I said, let them keep on talking. Because think about it. These are but BJs, are these pedestrians? Like you always say it before?
Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that pedestrian work right there?
I understand. No, these are civilians because they know a little bit more than pedestrians.
Yeah.
And we've been going back and forth with this. This is a constant thing. That's why this channel exists. Okay? What did I say? If you come over to this Master Teacher Response channel, what you gonna see? Say this is not my normal channel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I put it over here, and we have been going back and forth with these people for years. It's not like we don't know them. Okay, that's why that's the only reason we're doing, which is why we showed up. Okay, and AB has a particular affinity for these people. Okay, I don't know why.
I'm more in the indifferent category.
I know.
Actually, I lean more toward the edge right now. I'm kind of indifferent. I could have made a video a couple weeks ago, but I was like,
Yeah,
nah,
but
it's not worth it.
this is not about this. What we talk about is not about this case. Okay, we're not even going to discuss this case. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna play.
because basically nobody knows shit about what the fuck went on during that day. Nobody. Okay,
Yeah.
everybody's guessing. Okay. And no, and whatever evidence they got in Frisco with the police and all the witnesses, nobody ain't saying shit. Okay, show
Mm-hmm.
me somebody that actually came out beside the brother that actually came out and said what happened and put their face
Yeah,
out.
they're using this case as a proxy, and both I may argue white people are getting a little bit more foamy at the mouth about it, but black people are using this as a proxy as well.
Yes, they are.
And they think if they put a little bit of BS gasoline in the water, it'll make you feel a little woozy, but it won't kill you. And that's the problem, man. Yeah. So anyway, I came up here because I was interested. He had Whitlock on here because I know how DC feels about Whitlock, and I see FD Signifier is worse than Whitlock in my opinion. Because in my opinion, black people are more predetermined to listen to somebody like an FD Signifier than a Whitlock.
No, actually not. Actually not. They're probably more predicated to actually listen to Jason.
Yeah, I think Whitlock has to upper hand
he's
in that.
actually in sports and they know him. They don't know FD Signifier. FD Signifier is a very niche. Got to remember, bread tube and we call it cornbread tube is a very niche.
Well, I'm talking about if we're talking about.
Can I finish? Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. Unless you really know about FD Signifier and bread tube. Okay. If you really know, have you really followed bread tube?
Yes, I have.
Okay, they're a very niche, intersectional, feminist leaning platform, right? They have a very selective audience. In fact, FD Signifier said most of his audience is white, not black.
So you put Jason Whitlock's talking points in front of 15 random black people, and you put FD Signifier in front of 15 random black people. You telling me that they're gonna be more predetermined to listen to Jason Whitlock?
Yeah. Because have you heard the language that FD Signifier actually uses?
I have heard the language, and it's basic democratic liberal language.
No, it's feminist language. Okay, if you listen to it's feminist language, and most people, unless you're tuned to it, do not understand what the fuck FD Signifier is talking about. Most black people are not feminists like that unless you went to college and you've been trained. Okay, Jason Whitlock is more for speaks in more common language. That's why you think he's still on? Why do you think he was on sports for so long?
Mm-hmm.
I still stand by the FD Signifier is worse than Jason Whitlock.
Maybe one day you'll prove it, but I could tell you it's probably not. Okay, because Jason Whitlock has been on mainstream media. Okay.
Well, I'm talking about as far as worse for black people. That's what I understand.
It's worse for black people.
Like FDC sees Jason Whitlock is like a Jared Taylor type of person. And FD Signifier is kind of like, well, what he says isn't a big deal. I consider what FD says a lot more of a big deal because it keeps black people stuck. Even if it is his rhetoric, that academic rhetoric is what most black people operate by as far as a lot of these general.
No, they don't.
Apparently the
No, they don't. I'm in that world. No, they don't.
So black people don't predetermine feminism. Black women the black community.
Even black feminists do not understand what the fuck FD Signifier is saying half the time, right? That's why his following is mainly white people. Okay?
It's not just about the individual people.
Okay.
Intersectional feminism.
Give me an example, because I'm gonna tell you, okay, man. I do this shit on a regular basis. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 PhDs. Okay, that report back to me. Vast majority of black women do not understand intersectional feminism. They do not.
That does not mean they are not still operating off of that shit. They may not understand. Vast majority of black women don't understand feminism in general.
But they're not going to listen to FD Signifier.
All right, man. I live in a world where
That's why I challenge FD Signifier. If you really think that what you're saying is going across with men or with black people, black women, black men, go in front of these motherfuckers. Go to the beauty shop. Go to the whatchamacallit, go to the barbershop and see how well it goes across.
I stand by my original.
FD Signifiers are gonna come off as a weirdo.
My original statement is DC thinks that Jason Whitlock is worse for the black community than FD Signifier. That is my original statement. I disagree with that statement.
I never even heard. Have you ever heard DC bring up FD Signifier?
Yes, because when I bring it up, when I go up there, I have heard DC bring him up independent of that. He doesn't bring him up all the time. It's not something that like he brings up all the time.
What does he say about FD Signifier?
He basically, when we had the conversation, it is that, DC has this thing. He acts like he tries to make it sound like basically what you saying. The FD Signifier is harmless. Now, he doesn't give the reason, but he gives me an idea that he kind of agrees way more with FD Signifier. If he had to pick between Jason Whitlock existing or FD Signifier existing, he would much more prefer FD Signifier existing than Jason Whitlock. He sees Jason Whitlock as like an enemy of the state type of person.
He sees Jason Whitlock as just like what's his name, Larry Elder and a few others, right?
Yeah. So he sees that
they're in the coon category, okay?
Yeah,
and they're in the political realm. FD Signifier to him is harmless because he doesn't matter in what they're talking about. That's what I'm saying.
And but my thing is FD Signifier represents the part of black academia that dominates. That really has a lot of this BS out here. He's one person, but a lot of black academia operates kind of on that intersection. Even Dr. T. Hassan talked about that. And that's what's pumping out all these 92s, these quote unquote Kim Fosters and all these other people with this BS. But I don't really, I'm not, like I said, I'm indifferent. I didn't really come up here to legislate that. No, like that. I just came up here because you had Jason Whitlock on here. So
we're talking about we're actually Jason Whitlock is just part of the show. It's not really about Jason Whitlock. It's about them calling us out, okay? Because DC came to my channel yesterday with about 4 or 5 comments saying show up and put your voice when we drop the link, blah blah blah, and we there for 3 hours and they don't drop the link. So it said, and so I told AB, why don't we just do a simulcast on it and comment on the show independently.
All right, let me say this, and I'm gonna fall back. Okay, like I like DC. That issue that kind of y'all had, like I think he was out of order with that. I'm gonna say that, but that ain't like don't put him in the fuck DC category in my book. Okay. But that is like a strike, and that is definitely a registered strike.
Okay.
Profile, and you only takes like 2. Or
the thing is, okay, I just told you why we are doing.
No, and I was about to give the fuck part.
Okay, well, you'll give me the fuck part, man.
No, not the fuck part, but the butt part. But based on what you said, like just now, who the fuck is DC? Like seriously, dude. I consider myself a civilian. I got my opinions. Okay. I came on there and I literally told him what the fuck was gonna happen.
Okay.
I told him that shit was gonna be as close to a Reagan, and he can play the thing. I said what I really think is gonna happen with this election. I said this like right when she got the nomination. It was the Democratic convention. I said this is going to be as close to a Reagan type thing as you gonna see. This is gonna be as close. He was like, no. Okay. I was probably the closest as far as how the election actually came out. Me. And so for him,
it's compared to who? It's compared to who?
Well, compared to them, and pretty much compared to anybody else other than you, as far as how it actually came out. And so the reality is for him to sit here and talk that show up shit, let's be real about why it took so long to get here in the first place. I'm going to give DC the benefit of the doubt and to say the people you trusted lied to your black ass and made your black ass look stupid. Whoever you trusted behind the scenes, I don't even know if they're on YouTube, they lied to you. And it took you a minute to make peace with that. And I'm going to assume that's why you look so damn stupid and look like you know what the fuck you was talking about, because the people you trusted lied to you. And then all that started to come out.
They ended the stream and nobody came up. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and all of that stuff started to come out. After, like, you know, with the Asian chick you was covering and other stuff after the fact, and I guess he had to make peace with that because you look stupid because you are supposedly behind the scenes and he should know. DC should be kind of like where Sauchi is, where the other doctor you be having at Dr. Geopolitics is. So he's on that level. Clearly, either you're not, because the people lied to you. So I'm assuming it's really that you don't. It's not that you don't know what you're talking about. They lied.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I'm just gonna give him that benefit of the doubt. That being for you to sit, even still, for him to come up here and try to call you out rather than being honest. Because look, you would have. I do believe you would have went there. I would have went there. Had Kamala won. Because you've done it before. I've done it before. But when it's in the reverse, y'all can't do that, and y'all are not old enough to have that kind of ego. I mean him. And so it's crazy, man. Like Paradise had to come up there and start talking because DC was MIA. And so for him to then turn around is y'all need to call out. Like, dude, stop listening to them stupid motherfuckers because they putting you out here to look dumb. They basically putting you out here to take all these hits as the alpha so they can be behind you doing stupid shit. Cause like real talk, that's a fuck these niggas offense. Got me out here looking stupid like that. Cause you were wrong. Like you weren't kind of wrong. You were
completely wrong.
This is a shutout. This was a shutout. This was a sweep. This is what this was.
I don't know what's coming at me. I called everything right down the line. Every play. And basically the people on the other side after the election came out. The one on her team.
Democrat insiders came out and said the same thing we said.
She said, I don't know what the argument is about.
Yeah, clarity matters. And it becomes this ego thing. And that's how, you know, when AB starts talking that vote blue no matter who, not to mention what I say about the benign neglect, it's like, yo, you mean to tell me after being wrong like that, you still gonna come back here and do the same dumb shit? Talk about you need to come on. And then that's one thing to be bold enough to do that. And then, dude, BGS, you one of the oldest people up here other than Black Guru. Time, obviously, I hope you live to 100 years old, 110. I literally got a step grandmother that her mom is still alive at like 104. Don't even get me started on how I feel about that. My point is, you ain't got the time to be wasting no 3 hours waiting for somebody on the fucking internet. They called you out that was wrong. That's fucking insane when you really think about that shit. Like, you call them out, then you make them wait. That's some black woman shit. That's some shit a black female would do. I could understand.
The thing is, it wasn't just him. It was also Mike V. So basically, I don't know why they coordinated it. Because really what it was is that we're talking about pedestrian. We actually talk about Big J XXX, right? Because, you know, this is my troll channel for these kind of folks, right? So we're talking about him. We might have mentioned DC and the Code Breakers for what 2 or 3 minutes, okay? They got their panties all in a bunch. I'm
gonna tell you right now, I think Mike V is gassing DC. Stop listening to Mike V. Mike V is having you fight his battles because if he fights alone, please, like that you need to stop listening to Mike V because that's what, and Mike V don't know what he's talking about. Mike V is basically, I hate to say it this way, but I gotta say it this way. Mike V is basically an uppity nigga. That's like an uppity nigga that don't know he an uppity nigga. And I'm not saying I got an issue with necessary BGS. I'm sure you got a certain, you said it when you say you're evil twin and stuff. But the difference is you know how to turn that on and off. Mike V is an uppity nigga that don't think he an uppity nigga. Nigga, I grew up with white people just like you did. I appreciated them, boss. You didn't get hit with a rock like them you didn't experience these racist Boston or whatever part of good Massachusetts. I see a lot of SWP and Mike V. But I respect SWP a lot more. I see a lot of SWP, but really don't know what he's talking about. Somebody from the burbs to think you think you know more than what you do. And it's like at the end of the day, even if you're wrong, your ego makes you right. Like,
yeah. Ed,
and I'm not even trying to be disrespectful, but I'm just being real. All right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ed, I was roasting them so bad a couple of weeks ago. BTS was like, calm down. Like, leave the pedestrian alone.
But the difference between me and you is you know, and I can be sarcastic too, but when it comes to you, that's your style. My thing is, I'm serious about them because I see what they do is really dangerous because it's like y'all are really at this point arguing with facts. It's not about BGS. You don't like the truth. And it just manifests in what BGS is talking about in the receipts he shows. And rather than counting the actual receipts that's shown, what y'all do is y'all want to make it about the manosphere, talk about what are we doing and what are that. Well, at least we're telling the truth and providing clarity. That's more than what the fuck y'all are doing.
Why don't they do what
they're providing false and we're providing, y'all acting like y'all doing all this shit. Where in that, like the Democratic Party is controlled, like all parties are controlled by the elite. We get that. But the Democratic Party is being ran like a super PAC. You can say what you want to about the elite on the Republican side. They don't necessarily like completely what's going on. Trump doing what the fuck he wants to do.
Yeah,
whether it's follow Project 2025, whether it's bringing Elon Musk in, you know, the Democrats. The Democratic Party is being ran by a fucking super PAC.
Basically, the neocons are still running the Democratic Party, and nobody.
Yeah, it's like not a super PAC on the side. They're spending money like a super PAC.
It's not even super PAC. It's an insider deep state.
Yeah, insider.
Organization, a group of people that've been running the Democratic Party since the Clintons.
Okay? Well, the reason why I say super PAC now, and that's right, I'm not disagreeing with you, but it's like when you look at super PACs, a lot of super PACs are sloppy. They spend a lot of money and they basically get scammed by the operators to spend a lot of money to kind of move a needle a little bit with a lot of money. It's being ran sloppy like that. So the deep state stuff has been around, but the sloppiness by which how the Democrats are doing stuff. I mean, I forget. I mean, was the Clintons this sloppy? BGS, like, was their organization? I know Obama was known, other than Benghazi, to have a real tuned up organization, but I always thought the Clintons, they had their cluster Fs, but they were.
Who do you think is running this particular op right now? The whole Joe Biden. Kamala Harris op. It was Hillary and Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Well, this is how you know Bill Clinton is getting old. He retired because this shit is sloppy. Shit is sloppy as hell.
It's okay. The thing is, at this point, okay, what they should have done, okay, is not. Let's put it this way, okay. The ops that they wanted to run with Joe Biden failed, okay. So they're trying to keep it going until, hoping that they could recover and they can actually turn the tide, which you couldn't, okay. Okay, and so but they had to keep Joe Biden. If they couldn't keep Joe Biden, they had to go to Kamala Harris to keep the op that they had going, okay, and they couldn't, okay, because one, Joe Biden was not capable of running, okay, because too old, right? And Kamala Harris doesn't have the talent to actually run.
Yeah, and I'll get, but here's the thing too. Okay. The Clintons has been around. You said the Clintons have been low key running it, other than Obama kind of having the gavel for a hot second. But even then, they were still around in a very serious way with Hillary.
Still around,
and Obama went with Hillary over Biden the first time. When it comes to running for president.
Oh, well, basically,
Obama didn't give Biden. That's one reason Biden was upset, because Obama kept loyal to Hillary when it come to who to pick. He didn't help Biden at all in that race
because he knew where the power was. Okay,
that's true. My thing is, with the Clintons having that kind of power for that long, you would think they would be smart enough to understand y'all got to give black people something. You don't gotta even have reparations on it. I'm not saying that, but you can't let this much stuff slide with black people and then think black people are not going to turn eventually.
You could have had a reparations. Black people fuck their own self with reparations.
I get that. So even off of reparations, I'm talking about just stuff like letting affirmative, all these things y'all let the Republicans like gain on, and black people don't get nothing. We're not even talking about reparations at this point. You basically let all that stuff slide. And then y'all actually thought when y'all needed black people to just go with you on credit completely, that it wasn't going to happen. That's so if you have a group that's in charge that long, y'all don't understand that. And then on top of that means that the Clintons were mainly responsible for let's go all in on Hispanics too.
You're talking about
before the immigration part.
Okay. Okay. That's why I call you civilian, because you don't know, and they do a poor job of explaining why they have to do certain things. Okay.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Look, you see things through the geopolitical standpoint. Most people don't know. I get that, BGS, but understand, 95% of people don't know shit about that. So they're not voting on that.
Of course, they're not. What I'm trying to say is, I'm trying to tell you, there's a reason that they do shit. Okay, you trying to comment on what they did without knowing why they did it. Okay. Well, both sides, actually, Republican and Democrats, actually agree on the same shit. Okay. Republicans could have killed that bill. Republicans could have passed the fucking bill. Okay. They could have passed it under Trump. They didn't. Why? Because they both benefit from it. They want to sneak these people in undercover and take advantage of the low wages. That's why they still do it, right? Obama did the same thing. Obama knew. Hold on for a second, okay? Jeez, okay. Obama, the 2011, the Social Security Administration came to Obama and said, we got way too many people on these goddamn Social Security numbers. What do you want to do about it? They didn't do shit. Neither side did. Okay, that's why I like Trump. Trump is at least willing to shake the tree. Do I agree with everything that he does? No, but he's shaking the tree. But go ahead.
I'm speaking on the Democratic Party needed their constituency to come out to put Kamala in there for their agenda.
She had no shot. She had no shot. Everybody.
It doesn't matter. They presented her because they had to, and they wanted to win. So I'm talking to them. It doesn't matter the shot. They presented her, and ideally they wanted her to win. So what I'm commenting on, she had no shot. Because not only black people, but even the working class whites.
The whole Democratic Party knew that she had no fucking shot. Okay, if you go back,
what was the purpose of her putting her in there?
I say what?
What was the purpose? What was the purpose? Because they didn't move like that.
I just explained to you why the purpose. Okay, I just explained to you the purpose of the neocon.
Yeah, because they needed to.
You don't let me talk, or what?
All right, man.
Explain it to me, okay? Since you
want you said it, I understand. You said it before. You said it before in order to continue the neocon agenda.
Explain it to me. What was the neocon agenda?
The neocon agenda was, basically holding, keeping this unipolar, all the stuff that was going on. I understand that. But you're saying that they put her in there with no intention for her to win.
No, what I'm saying is, okay. The thing is, did they have intentions for her to win? Yes, but most of your Democratic Party had to be forced to actually get behind her. Okay, the Clintons and the Clinton wing had to be forced to get behind, forced most of the Democrats to get behind. That's what AOC was complaining about, right? She said, "You motherfuckers think that she can't win, blah 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 blah," and I don't understand why you're giving up on her. Okay, they had to be forced. To come to and get behind it, because guess what? The Clinton got all the donors.
Was it more possible that she could have won if black people would have voted for her in the same numbers that they voted for Obama?
No. The change in black vote was marginal, maybe like 3%. No.
So what would it? So what populations would needed to move for her to win?
White women. Okay, white women was the biggest mover, and Hispanics were the second. Okay. The biggest shift was white women from, I think they voted for Biden, what, to 56%, and then it shifted over to I think he went all the way down to what, 46%.
Which were the main two groups they campaigned on. They campaigned for the main two groups that all the money went to
White
as
women,
far as trying to get out.
the white women was the main group they campaigned for. Okay, if you listen
Yeah, and then Hispanics were kind of on the back end. That's what that people of color thing was.
But the thing is that the disrupting force, which is what I'm proud of about the Black Manosphere, of Black men. It's not that we could move the needle, but the thing is we were actually the loudest for a change.
Why do you think the white women voted for Trump over the Democrats?
One, you're bringing in migrants, okay, and you're spending money.
They didn't want incompetent black AKA taking their place.
Yeah, no, that's not it. Okay, one, you're spending money. Okay, three, your inflation doubled over the period. Housing housing doubled during the Biden administration, right? Basically your common grocery goods went up 50, 40, 50, 60%. Okay. And then on top of that, you got two wars that you're fighting, and you're sending what, $350 billion to Ukraine.
So they really bet it all on abortion, and none of that was gonna matter.
Abortion didn't matter. Okay, what are the top three things that everybody said was important to this election? What are the top three things?
Well, it's stuff that rotate with the economics, inflation, housing.
And inflation with housing's part of it, right? Immigration and what? Foreign policy with the wars they were fighting. Top three things, including Gaza, including what was going on in Gaza and all that other kind of shit. Those are the top three things that went on in this election. Okay, those three things. What did Trump campaign on? I'm gonna stop the wars. I'm gonna bring down inflation, and I'm gonna close the borders. The top three things. Abortion was a poor fifth or sixth. Okay, they didn't even mention that half the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the Democrats tried to bet it all on that.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Okay.
They didn't talk about the economy.
Yes, they did.
So Kamala was talking about the economy.
He's talking about. She's saying it
wasn't talking about abortion.
Huh?
Kamala wasn't talking about abortion.
She talked about abortion, but those were not the top three things. Okay.
I'm talking about what the top three things the Democrats were campaigning.
The thing is, the top three things the Democrats had to defend against was what? Gaza, number one, right? Okay.
That's one thing she had to.
The other three things, the protection of the Ukraine, right? Okay. Okay, and then what they're trying to do is saying that that it was Trump not doing what? Trump actually going against the immigration reform that they were trying to pass. Okay.
Yeah.
Top three things. But
the immigration reform was in the opposite of what people wanted. Because their immigration reform was bringing more motherfuckers in here or solidifying the motherfuckers they had already brought in here under bullshit ass circumstances. I mean, we can talk about the demographics. I understand that, but the issue is they didn't talk about that with the American people. They just
did it and they hit it. And the thing, I'm gonna tell you the honest to God truth. Most people don't care about motherfucking immigrants coming into this country working. They don't care. The thing is,
they care about the money though.
They don't. You should not be spending half $500 billion on immigrants. Okay, that's
you basically created a welfare state. And then didn't tell nobody why.
Exactly. That's what. And what really killed after Trump. Really, they weren't feeling Biden anyway because Biden's numbers were down anyhow, right? Okay. What really killed the Democratic Party, the death knell, was two things. It was one thing, really. It was the hurricane, the two hurricanes in freaking South. Okay.
Yeah, that was their silent Katrina.
That was a silent Katrina. That was the nails in the coffin. And right after that came out that FEMA, $200 billion of FEMA money went to immigrants, into housing immigrants.
Mm-hmm. Not a good look.
Because
and then not having the money. Yeah, I mean,
we literally for a good 9 months. Okay, on our channel, we literally tracked this shit piece by piece, piece by piece by piece, down to the last scintilla. Okay, and if Kamala Harris couldn't even win a freaking primary, get more than 2% on a primary, why would you run her?
Yeah, I mean, it's about the problem is it's about egos, man, and that's the thing that I don't like. I mean, we're here to get the most accurate information that people can stomach, because there's a reason I don't go on your Patreon, because that's not for the faint of heart. I'm telling y'all right now, and so the thing is, when you let ego, people keep saying the same stupid shit about the manosphere and what the manosphere thinks, blah, blah. Technically, like, we're one section of the manosphere, and Pride of consistent section, the ignorant section. So people want to take all that extra shit, bring it on here, rather than addressing it. It's like, yo, fuck y'all egos, man. Because, I mean, shit, for the most part, BGS, you check yours, and I'm not even saying that you should, but you do. I guess as a self discipline.
I'm a Gnostic. We don't.
Okay, well, yeah. So I mean, people. That's really what drives it. Is I don't like you because of this, and fuck your information because it came out of your mouth. That's really what that is. That's some female shit, and that's the thing that kind of annoys me about a lot of these conversations. Is it's like all this doesn't matter how much you prove and show, because it's you saying it's wrong. That's not what men do.
And I don't mind the Black Brain Trust disagreeing with me, or even the Code Breaks disagreement. Your thing about political discourse is Jasmine Crockett and what's his name? Okay, what's his name? That's it. All the shit that's going on. That's all you guys can talk about. Really? The whole for 4 hours. Okay. Not an hour, not 30 minutes, not.
What that tells me is that they see. I always ask the question, who are the next people up? And that tells me that other than Jasmine Crockett, they don't know.
The thing is, if you want to talk about Jasmine Crockett, that's fine for a half an hour, maybe an hour, right? Okay, fine, okay. But all this shit that's going on in the political realm, domestically and internationally, come on.
But that's why I don't like Professor Black Truth, but I listen to Professor Black Truth because he can cut it down in 10-minute bites.
Yeah, and he's a civilian, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why the China is bringing this stuff out now. Come on, man, you're supposed to be.
He was being rhetorical when he was saying that.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He was serious. Okay, he wasn't being rhetorical. You don't know. Okay,
I heard that when you went through it. I mean, because I heard it when I heard it. It's like he does that. I'll give you clips to show you other times, but he'll ask questions he knows the answers to. Because I get it. You've been listening longer. That's what you have to say, but it is what it is.
Okay. Well, there's certain after doing this for God knows how long, right? There's certain key terms, key words, or key ideas that I listen for, right? Okay, if you're talking about a particular subject, and if if those are not included in your discourse, then I say you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, because everybody that's really keen on the subject and in the know, that somewhere along the line, even Steve Bannon will actually drop certain things in their discourse. It's okay, you know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, people hate Steve Bannon, but if you listen to Steve Bannon and get past all the other rhetoric, right, and get down to the core, okay, of what he's talking about, motherfucker knows what he's talking about. He actually called what Donald Trump is doing right now before they got in office. He actually called this shit, okay?
So everybody, all they can say now is he's following Project 2025.
He knows Trump, and he knows the team, and he actually called what Trump's worldview is. Okay, you understand the guy's worldview, you know where he's trying to go. Okay, Trump's been trying to get rid of the EU, not EU, but the NATO. He's been trying to get out of NATO. He never liked NATO because Trump is not Western European. He's actually Eastern European. He's Prussian. Okay, that's Trump. Yeah. Okay, so he doesn't rock with the French and English and German crowd. Okay, the Western German crowd. So he's not a liberal EU
that's
NATO.
He's going to be in there for years. So I don't even know if that necessarily bans his take. Is that something you really believe he can sustain? Do you really believe that Trump can break Native America from? I'm not saying that, bitch. I don't even agree that it should happen.
It doesn't take that long. Okay, it doesn't take that long to break NATO. NATO's been on the wane.
Come in and fix it.
No. Once it's broken like that, you can't. Some things you can't fix. Okay. Just like what's going on with the BRICS and the currency right now. Okay, Trump cannot fix that. Okay, that's broken. Okay, just like when Obama came in and tried to get all the banks to agree and stuff like that, that shit still ain't been fixed. You can't once you can alter things, but you can't fix shit that's been broken. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how. Okay, I mean, it takes decades to fix some shit that's broken. That's how come presidents are very careful about what they do, because if you break it, probably can't be fixed. So Trump is taking the opposite. Okay, we might as well go ahead and shake the whole tree and see what falls out.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing. Which people who disagree with go ahead.
That's gonna be the end of Europe.
It's okay. The thing is that the death knell of Europe was Ukraine. That was a gamble that Biden took by one entering into that war. Okay, and the second thing was by sanctioning or stealing Russia's money. Okay,
mm-hmm.
that is a no in global banking system. Okay, so the people have no choice except to get off the fucking dollar. That's what they're trying to do right now, and Trump's trying to slow that shit down. That's why he's shaking the tree with all these goddamn terrorists. Okay, if you listen to what he's saying, he says he doesn't want an alternative system, which is called which is the BRIC system, right? He said, "Don't get off." He's threatening them. If you get off the dollar, there will be consequences, right? That's what the tariffs are about. But the thing is, if you don't study this stuff, you hear it on the ground and you say, "Oh my God, he's taxing the people," blah blah blah. You don't understand what the fuck is going on. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why I call people. There's people that listen to CNN, like my mother and my brother. That's what they go by. Okay, don't even look at C-SPAN. It was where they go by. They have civilians that know a little bit more. Okay, they're informed, but the thing is, they're not experts. Okay,
because people are an assumption about Europe's integrity, and the reality is Europe will. I mean, when you really fracture up Europe, Eastern Europe, Southern Europe, obviously Western Europe. I mean, Southern Europe is damn near the third world. Eastern Europe is, well, outside of Russia, Poland is damn near the third world. Western Europe, France, what keeps France out of the second world is really the Francophone countries. UK is already fell off, but it's still the UK. And Germany is the only solid. Germany is really the only solid, and they're not even all of it.
Until when? Okay, until they blew up the pipeline and the supplies.
Oh yeah, so people don't think about that. People don't think about how Western Europe basically is the only thing really keeping Southern Europe afloat, and Western Europe needs the U.S. So it's like people don't look at Europe, and then you got Northern Europe is fine for the Nordic countries.
They're not fine. They're not fine.
They're better. They're in a better position. You don't think they're in a better position than
no.
So you had to rank all of Europe, the what sides of Europe I just said. Would you say is Western Europe, Northern Europe, Eastern Europe, and Southern Europe?
What is Northern Europe?
Finland.
Those are Western European countries. Okay.
All right, so you count them as Western European.
Anything on the other side of Russia or other side of Germany or Eastern European. Okay.
Yeah, so technically like Southern, but technically Italy and Greece would be considered Western European.
They're still Western Europeans. Okay.
But what I'm saying is it will start if America pulls out of everything, Europe. You're saying Europe won't fracture.
It will fracture. Yeah.
And that's what I'm kind of that. So when I'm just explaining myself,
it's probably going to fracture anyway. Okay, because go ahead, man. Explain.
So I'm just saying that's what it's going to look like if it does fracture.
But why? Okay, I was getting ready to tell you why, but go ahead and tell me why.
Well, in my opinion, Southern Europe. I mean, it can't even exist like that without Western Europe is the anchor, even though they all technically count as Western Europe. If you look at the main tripod of Western Europe, it used to be the UK, Germany, and France.
It still is. It ain't changed. It still is.
Okay, even though the UK got out. Okay, so outside of that, that's where you'll see the fracture, because then it's going to be like, I got to get this dead weight off, aka Greece and Italy to a lesser extent, and the Mediterranean.
What binds NATO and the EU together? It's called what, sir?
Economics.
Money, okay? Where does France get its money? Where does Germany get its money? And where does the UK get its money? What is UK there for? They're about what? Banking, right? Banking and payment transfers. That's where they make their money, right? Influence that, right? SWIFT system, all that kind of stuff. That's banking, right? What does France provide? What do you think it is?
The African money.
African money and African resources, right? Okay. What does Germany provide?
Military or economic,
Manufacturing, right?
Yeah, I got it on the third one.
Manufacturing. That's the basis. Okay. Ukraine war did what? When you cut off the when you actually push Russia off the SWIFT system and sanction them and stole their money, you killed the UK, okay, for the most part, because the banking system is going elsewhere. Okay. When you couldn't we're wasting too many rounds in Ukraine, and basically all of Europe and all the United States could not provide enough weapons to actually fight them. Guess what? Africa said, guess what? They ain't got no teeth. Let's push them all out, which they did, right? So France is ass up because they can't go and suck off resources and money from their colonies anymore. They actually bring it into Europe, right? And when we blew up the pipeline to Germany, guess what you killed in Germany? They're manufacturing. You basically killed them. They're going to fracture. It's just a matter of time.
That sounds like basically Trump is selling out Europe in order to concentrate his white power in the United States. So a lot of that shit we just do, and then that holds our.
Did you listen when I told you to listen to Bannon's talk with the New York Times? What did he say? From Panama to Greenland, right? Was Fortress Americana, right? We're going to isolate ourselves from the rest of the world, okay, and protect ourselves within North America.
Yeah. So what I'm talking about is basically what I just did was took what you said and fed it back to you to verify I understand what you're saying. That's why I said so. Okay, so I do understand it. Okay. Yep. Oh wow, that's a big move.
That's why you have to listen to keywords and what they say. Okay. Biden said the exact close to the same thing, right? When he had that talk with, I forget who it was before he left office. He said this is a what is this is the nexus, right? We're at a nexus point. Who's going to actually rule the world, right? Okay. Really, Europeans are willing to go to the mat because they know that if they don't do this, okay, white supremacy will be out of power for a good long time.
Yeah, their survival. Their European. The United States, can have is going to have a lifeline, but their survival is at stake. Our survival is this. We're fucked up, but our hegemony is at stake. But their survival,
our survival is at stake the same way too. Okay, but seeing as Trump is trying to cut off dead weight and make sure that the United States survives. Ours is too.
Yeah, well, Europe would go out before we go out.
Yeah, of course. So he's cutting off dead weight. Which European.
Yeah. So I agree with you, but like we would last a lot longer in doing that. Like with more time, and you never know.
And DC, I don't want to hear shit you got to say, man. We spent 3 hours with you and trying to invite us up, and we never got up, so I don't want to hear it. Okay, the link is in the chat if you want to come up. Okay,
that's crazy.
I want to hear about
information, really.
White people ain't white and right.
Oh boy,
misinformation. Okay, basically, all your economists are saying it. Your military guys are saying the exact same shit that we're saying. Okay.
I mean that misinformation shit. Like honestly, I'm serious. Like with certain people of a certain level, they just misinformation.
You can
that
cuss.
Means you ain't really got nothing to say.
Bull crap. You cussed at me when you're on art. You can cuss. I don't give a shit. Okay. My shit is proven. Okay. It's not something that I'm guessing at.
Yeah. That misinformation. That's some black woman shit.
I don't need people to actually agree with me. The headlines agree with me, okay?
That's like SBE. Yeah, it's just some shit you say. It's like that when people say misinformation, you're not saying why. See, here's the thing. If you make the charge that it's misinformation, then it is on to you to actually, like, I'm not even saying to say you got to prove it, which you should. I'm saying you got to say why it's misinformation. When somebody says something is misinformation, what you're essentially doing is you're taking advantage of the ignorance of other people, because if they trust you, then they're just going to go with what you're saying until you overuse that. And then, some people start to pick up that that's being overused.
Yeah, man.
But
you have to prove that what I'm saying is not correct, and you have not done that. Okay, you
yeah,
put
like
this information doesn't mean shit to me. Okay, I've been doing this for over 20 online for over 20 years. So I don't want you to hear that shit. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what that's that. Like I said, you better stop. That's that Mike V shit. That don't even sound like DC. That sound like Mike V.
I will tell you where you went wrong. Of all the shit you talk about, right, that's going on in the United States locally, okay, domestically and internationally, you talk about Jasmine Crockett? Really? Is that it?
She's the queen of correct information.
Is that it? Is that as far as the discourse goes? Come on, man.
That's that Boyce Watkins strategy.
I don't want to shit when you got things to do today. I mean, we spent 3 hours listening to you guys' asses because you guys called us out. And guess what? Nothing happened. All right. I don't want to hear that shit no more. We did it. We did this shit for a reason. Okay. That's why I said AB, since they want to let us up, come over here, do a simulcast. Okay. Actually play you guys and comment on. So we can't comment on your show, but it's okay.
And all you got is
you can like AB will say. AB brought you guys up on my show, on my podcast, okay, a couple days ago, okay, for like 2, maybe 3 minutes, right? Not the whole show. Your name wasn't even in it, okay? Your name wasn't even in it.
I'm curious, and I'm not even looking at the chat, but I'm gonna ask the question. What? Give me 1 point, just 1 point of what is been said that is misinformation. Just one thing. That's it. That's for DC's in the chat. That's for DC in the chat. Just one thing. Just one. That's what is something that is misinformation. I'm curious. If it's so much misinformation.
Because just in the 30 minutes that Ed's been up here, we talked how many subjects we went through in just 30 minutes.
Multiple subjects,
but not just locally, but domestic, but also globally.
Yeah, I want that. I'm not being. I mean, I'm not talking about at ease. I've already said what I said. You need to start listening to Mike V because he got you looking stupid. Like that's got to be because that's where the switch that I detected was. But I'm asking, what piece of misinformation was misinformation?
I'll say this about Jasmine Crockett since DC is here, right? I've seen people like Jasmine Crockett and white limousine liberals kiss up to her ass, same way they were doing when you're showing her, right? That's what she's doing. Okay, I've seen women like her in Pacifica forever. That's why I disagree with. That's why I don't listen to her because I've seen that play before.
Yeah, she's
just a minstrel.
That's all
she's minstraling for white women, okay? Which I don't agree with.
It's not even like, okay, she's got her one thing that she's willing to go out on a limb for, and it's like, okay, this is her one thing. Even when it comes to like black females, like there's not like if I say even just for black women, what is the thing that she's talking about? At least the one thing, and then she's kissing white women's asses. Remember what I've always said. But nobody's taking more from the black woman than the white woman. Nobody kisses the ass of the white woman more than the black woman.
Yes.
What is this one thing that she's selling out for? She's not. She's selling out for party advancement. She's doing AOC. And by the way, even though I don't like AOC like that, AOC did it better. AOC did it in a way.
She actually talked about policy. She actually went on policy.
I gotta give her that. Yeah.
AOC.
Jasmine Crockett is not cooning for the TV, for the cameras, okay?
And AOC has demonstrated, at the end of the day, if you want to know what these mofos really think, you know, like, then I'm the person to talk to about what these people really think as far as the voter electorate. She seems to have at least more of an understanding of what they want more than anybody else up in there.
And the real black woman that's really got some teeth, could really do something, is Nina Turner, and nobody wants to fuck with her. Why?
Yep.
Yep.
You never heard me.
Nina Turner is the fucking real deal. She's black. She's pro-black. She's a former Bernie bro. Okay? And they will not fuck with her. Okay, why?
No, they every time she try to run, they campaigned against her.
They primary her every time she try to run. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
we listen to a Jasmine Crockett, but you guys don't play Nina Turner. Why?
And this is the type of shit, and this is me saying this. This is the type of shit that be having people taking folks at Democratic operatives. That's the type of shit that people have people thinking that shit. Like, because at the end of the day, Nina Turner is low key. I'll give her this. She's matriarch. She understands that if you don't have that, you got to get a boy something.
I mean,
I'll give her that.
In other words, of all the shit to talk about, the stuff that you guys talk about, okay, is surface level stuff. There was nothing that experts would really even dwell on, okay, for the most part. That's what we talked about. That's why we waited. Okay, what are you guys actually going to talk about? To me, it's a waste of my time. So I listened for 3 hours. I was actually listening for 3 hours. I was in the chat. If you actually look at it, I was in the chat. Was I not in the chat, AB?
They can look. They chat don't be like, it don't be a whole bunch.
I was there listening to it. Okay.
And that's another thing. People do be in the chat, because I've been on there like every once in a while, and then I'll be there for like an hour, and it's like y'all don't be looking at the chat, even though it don't be no motion in the chat. So I know
if you go to my channel, my More channel, I actually put in posted with your link in and say join me. Okay, I was there, so I don't want to hear that shit.
Y'all don't be looking at y'all chat all the time, because I've had situations where I've been up there I've been in the chat for an hour and a half and like consistently. So y'all don't be looking at the chat, and that's kind of video management. I know
that you know, I don't tell people how to run their show, okay? And I really don't care how you run your show. But the thing is, if you have Mike V and you come call me, I say come over here if you actually want to debate this or go back and forth with it, and for 4 hours we don't get a chance to come up, I don't want to hear it. I did my due diligence. I'm not going to do it no more. Okay, I'm to me, I'm done with it. Okay. Yeah. I told you. I said I've tried with you guys, right? I've tried with you guys. You invited me, okay? You invited me and AB to come through, okay? For this, and guess what? 4 hours. Guess what happened? All right, we got there, and we had to sit on the porch waiting for you to let us in. Okay, fine. No harm, no foul. I could actually. I don't really have. If I really want to comment on your shit, I don't even have to go to your channel. I can do this here, because we got what 170 people watching. How many people do you have watching when you're actually on? I don't need to come to your channel to speak. Okay. I can just simulcast whatever you guys are talking about and comment on it if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
The thing is, for the most of what you're saying, for me, it's like okay, it's civilian level. That's why I call it civilian level. You're not really getting into the meat. There ain't no meat on them bones. Okay.
Anyway. Damn, that's fucked up. They keep primary.
You know why they try to go after Cynthia McKinney? It had nothing to do with their thing. She was going after the bank. Okay, Cynthia McKinney. Subprime mortgage and all the crap that was going on with these banks and mortgages and selling these houses well before she struck. Okay. That's why they went after her. Okay, she warned us about this in 1998. They put Bill Clinton got the repeal of the Glass-Steagall through, and 10 years later, guess what happened? The whole banking system fell. She warned us about this shit. I actually talked to her. I said, "Baby, I know you tried to warn us about this shit." And she said, "Baby, I tried. I tried my hardest, and nobody would listen."
Yeah, man, the Democratic Party really need a Tea Party moment. They really need, but the problem is the way they're structurally built.
They did have a Tea Party moment. It's called the Bernie Bros. They
Well,
left.
yeah, well, they crushed that shit.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. It's still around, boy. I listen to them.
Well, I mean, you don't hear about it like that.
I listen to them all. Jamal Thomas is a Bernie bro, okay, an ex Bernie bro.
Well, I'm talking about as far as the gavel of controlling the Democratic Party.
Okay, the thing is with the Tea Party, okay, the Tea Party is mostly libertarian.
Yeah, but you still got like a Trump situation out of it.
Huh? Say what? Say what? Come on.
Yeah, you're kind of going in and out.
Okay.
Underwater.
I know. Let me go ahead and check my settings.
You still got like a Trump situation out of it, even though that's not the exact same.
Actually, the Trump situation, if you really want to know about it, the Trump situation is, I've explained. Okay, the things with Trump. Okay, Trump is a opportunist, right? Okay, Trump's actually a liberal for the most part, a liberal. Okay, for the centrist liberal. But the thing is, if you go back to Sarah Palin, okay, and see the what we call the deplorables that the left and the right shitted on, okay, he embraced them. If I'm going to win, I have to embrace these people. That's what he did. He became a populist on paper, okay, to win, and it worked. And it tied with Hillary Clinton and the deep state not liking Hillary Clinton. Those are two things that got Trump to win. Without those two, we would not have won. Bill Clinton is still upset about it, about the deep state and the military turning on Hillary, because there's who do you think put them laptops out or threatened to put them laptops out, emails out? It wasn't inside people. It wasn't outside people. Because they said after Benghazi that she would never be commander in chief over them. They said it. And they told her after the election, if you run again, all this shit that we hold over your head is going to come out. That's why she never ran again. And Bill Clinton finally admitted that right after the last election, after they lost the last election, he said, "Fuck it, I'm actually going to start talking." Okay. The thing is, you got to be around long enough to understand this kind of crap. Okay.
Yeah.
I said, I'm trying to give you guys a peek on the inside of how this stuff gets started, gets happened, because y'all not gonna read foreign affairs. You guys don't read this shit, okay? I know you don't. You don't listen to the same kind of people I listen to, because it's dry.
Not the geopolitical stuff.
The thing is not okay. Y'all think it's a separate thing, okay? It's not separate, okay? This trade war is telling you the shit's not separate. What happens in China has an effect here.
No, yeah, it informed. It's the thing that caused. It's the cause, and the domestic is the effect.
Why do you think basically immigration is a geopolitical thing? You have to understand why they do certain things. You have to understand where these policies come from. You guys don't know. You guys think that, okay, what happens here doesn't what happens out there has no effect on us. Yes, it does. The fact that's where your policies ran from. That's why you don't understand. Well, why are they doing this? Okay, because you never looked outside of your bubble. Why are they bringing in people? Why are they bringing in folks? Okay, and not saying anything. Okay, even Schweiker would not say it until we actually pull that card. Okay, because Schweiker kind of hinted at it. Wasn't enough taxpayers. Said, "Oh shit, 1 + 1 = 2," and we were the first people to actually say it. Nobody heard that shit before we actually said it on our arts panel.
Nope.
And we actually showed it. Okay, this is why they're sponsoring these people to actually be in here and actually pay for them to actually be here. They want more taxpayers. Republicans knew it too, because they had a whole secret panel on this shit. Wasn't publicized. Was never broadcast. Okay, this is insider shit.
Yeah.
And you know, and trust and believe, man. There's going to be a point where this will not be public for you guys no more. I'm not going to do it no more. Okay. It's going to be on my Patreon or nothing, because I'm getting tired of this. Okay, all this back and forth, and y'all don't. Thing is, I understand if you guys knew what you were talking about, I could understand, but y'all don't even know what you're talking about. That's my problem. That's my fucking problem. Y'all don't. You guys are supposed to be experts at this shit, and you're not. That's my problem. That's my issue. So that's why I'm not gonna. I've told AB, man. In fact, my whole my whole research section said, "Oh, you should just pull all this shit, man, and get off of YouTube. Put all this shit on Patreon. Don't put nothing out there for these pedestrians, okay? At all." I call this election 2 years out. AB can tell you. I call this election 2 years out. If you put the guy in jail or you don't get rid of him somehow, he's going to win the next election. He's your next president. I said that 2 years out.
Yeah, especially after that shot. It was over.
Oh yeah, it was over then. But the thing is, I knew everybody's talking, well, the polls, but they were telling you that the polls were bullshit. Okay, they were propaganda.
And actually, Biden's internal polling was even worse. They said
it's even worse.
400.
Yes,
400 electoral votes.
Yes, internal polling was horrible, and their teams knew this shit. That's why they put almost $3 billion into the campaign, into propaganda, and your press went along with that shit. I'm not mad at it, but the thing is, you guys are supposed to be fucking experts. You're supposed to be experts, even after they come out and admit to it. Y'all still like, you guys are still spazzing out.
Yeah,
they just
I don't
fucking
think you
admitted
can
to
get
it.
any more of an insider than Lindy Lee, and she sounds like me.
Lindy Lee, the fucking book that is published about the fight inside the White House, the Biden White House. Okay, all that shit was propaganda. People bit off of that shit, man. They knew she couldn't win. Her whole campaign team says they probably said it was a long shot for her to win. But you guys bit off that propaganda and still biting off of it. I don't get it. And now one has the Code Breakers ever played David Schweikert once on their channel? Once.
I haven't seen it, but I could be wrong.
Once. I don't think I've ever seen them play David Schweikert on their channel once. Okay. I don't know if they ever put Rand Paul on their channel once. Okay. Left or right. Okay. Once. Jamal Thomas once. Okay. Once. Did they put Wolf on there at all? Once.
Richard Wolf, yeah.
Has Richard Wolf been on their channel?
I don't think so.
Once. Now you have to be consistent for 10, 15 minutes. Once. Let me see if I can find David Schweikert, okay? Yeah. His latest one. If you understand if you listen to David Schweikert talk about the budget, you understand why Musk is a necessity, okay?
Yes.
Even Janet Yellen said it before she went out, okay? Basically what she said 4 months ago. Let's see if we can find one.
Yeah, basically, Janet Yellen said there is no more road. You have to do something.
Yeah, it's basically there's no more cap room. Janet Yellen said that before she left. Okay. Let's see.
And you want to hear the funny part? Trump is actually talking about raising taxes, and nobody's saying anything about it.
He's raising taxes.
Raising taxes for rich folk.
Oh, rich folk.
And nobody's saying anything about it.
It's because it doesn't fit the narrative.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. This one's going to be a little thick.
Go ahead.
So, all right.
StreamYard is doing StreamYards right now. You need to kind of redo it.
Huh? So what?
I can't see it.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me look it on.
I mean, you pay all this money, man. They used to get this right and didn't have this problem before the other company took over. Can you see it now? Yes, no?
Hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay.
I'll make sure the other people can see it.
Let me check my feed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I can see it. Okay. This is the meaty stuff I'm talking about.
Right here. On Friday, Congressional Budget Office responded to a request I made in my capacity as chairman of the Joint Economic Committee. And what I was trying to get was a answer of, were my projections, actually the economists' projections from the Joint Economic Committee, were they correct? Because you got to understand, there's actually a weird little battle going on here between the Senate and those of us in the House and those of us on Ways and Means. A number of our brothers and sisters over in this House of Lords,
bullshit, DC,
have decided that, hey, we have current tax policy from 2017, TCJ, the tax reform, which I was on the committee. I was one of the people that helped author that, but they expire at the end of this year. And they want to play this game of saying, hey, we're just going to pretend that there's no cost, that the law is not the law, the policy is the law. So this is when you hear people say current policy baseline, just do it. And we've been trying to do the math to saying, all right, Congressional Budget Office, a couple months ago, you actually did a projection saying that if we want to maximize economic growth over the next 10 years, what you do is you extend those tax cuts, but you pay for them. And the basic idea of that is by paying for them, you don't have government gobbling up the capital stack that's used to finance growth, to finance business, finance when you want to buy a truck or a new home or your business wants to expand. So we got an updated letter from the Congressional Budget Office. And apparently it didn't make me particularly popular with a few people, which that actually provides me a perverse joy. But if you read it, in the 30-year window, it looks like if we do all this without an attempt to pay for, if we drive up interest rates by 1%, in the 30-year window, it looks like you break CBO's budgetary model because you hit 250% of debt to GDP. And if I'm reading one of the paragraphs here correctly, they're basically saying, hey, our computer model doesn't go beyond 250%. But the point is, you have a government that here's our baseline. Let's see if I can make this make sense. At the end of this fiscal year, $37 trillion, $200 billion is going to be the country's debt. Over the next 10 years, we're expected to borrow an additional $22 trillion. On top of that, if you play with these folks that say we don't really need to pay for things, just keep it going, that's about another $5.5 billion, probably another 5.5 trillion, another 1.3 trillion in interest. And then if we were to be able to make the president's wish list without finding offsets or modernizations, and I'm going to walk through a whole series of things where it's not cuts, it's modernization, legalizing the technology that disrupts the costs, that makes our society better, happier.
And I'm in fact actually going to do a video on combining what Inside China Business said about healthcare and what he's talking about. Okay, those two. I'm probably going to do that. I might do that pre-record tomorrow. Okay, because what he's talking about is putting technology into Medicare. Medicare is your biggest spend right now. You can reduce those costs, okay? But things, you're going to put people out of work if you do that. Or you want to do that, okay?
Right.
That's the problem. And a lot of rich people are going to be less rich if you do that too.
More efficient. But if you were to do all those things without an attempt to pay for them, without an attempt to adopt policy to modernize the way we deliver services, the previous 240 years, we borrowed about 28 trillion from the public. That's investors around the world, from your pension system, from everything. It would mean over the next 10 years, we pretty much double. So 240 years, we're going to double it, or come close to doubling it in the next 10 years. That is the perversity of what you have going on around here. Yet the people coming behind these microphones keep having a wish list and want more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. The people walking through our hallways here are in our offices demanding more stuff. They either want more carve-outs in the tax code, they want barriers to entry to their competition, or they just want another check. And I'm going to walk you through just how dangerous a game we're playing right now. Because when you look at
I don't want to hear it, DC. We're there for 4 hours. Guess what happened? Nothing.
These charts. And this is online. Just go on CBO from last Friday and read it for yourself. It's not a hard
I don't want to hear it.
Why are my brothers and sisters so terrified to tell the truth to the public?
Oh.
You have a country.
Say it again, white boy.
And I'm going to
say it again, white boy. Why are my brothers and sisters so terrified to tell the truth to the public? Say it again, white boy.
Show the charts. that in about 7.5 years, we have more deaths than births.
Yes,
You have a
demographics.
country
That's why you have to import 3 million people a year. Tell the fucking truth, okay? Tell the truth.
that when we get out of the extraordinary measures, remember right now we're borrowing from our different funds because we're up against the debt ceiling. We may be borrowing almost $70,000 every second of every day. For those of you who turn to me and say, David, I demand you balance the budget. I can do it tomorrow. Let's see, if I use the 2024 numbers, for every dollar we took in tax collections, we spent $1.39. Tell me the 39 cents of government you want me to cut.
Propaganda, DC. Propaganda. I don't want to hear that propaganda, DC. Not anymore. I tried with you. Me and AB showed up. I don't want to hear that shit no more.
And their problem with that math is when you look at the charts, you see what's in blue? That's everything a member of Congress gets to vote on, defense and non-defense. Your only problem is it's 26% of the spending. So if you ask a member of Congress right now, balance the budget, we can do it. We can do it. Got to get rid of all defense, all non-defense.
All those people that don't like Musk, how come you're not talking to this guy? Okay, he's in Congress. He's been talking about this for the last 10 years. Why are you not talking to him?
That's basically the Park Service, the EPA, all the agencies. And then tell me what portion, because you got to pay your interest or you blow up the world economy. Tell me what portion of Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the other things you want to hack away at. The reality of it is in this fiscal year, our projection is up till the recent, now we're starting to downgrade our growth, is for every dollar we take in tax collections, we're going to spend functionally $1.36.
Okay.
Do you understand how screwed, actually it's a technical economic term, how screwed we are when we don't tell the truth about the math? And it is.
So David Schweikert is, me playing David Schweikert is propaganda.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm an older black man propagandizing people by playing a congressman talking about the budget. Interesting. Most black channels that speak politics have fallen in two camps. They bought and paid for by third parties. They are gynocrats worried about female feelings. Be just you a rare one. You're in your own category. I try to be. And me and AB have tried with the code. Nobody really knew about the code breakers until I started putting you guys on, posting you guys on my channel.
Not fixable, but it is possible to stabilize. We can stabilize this. We just have to think and do things that are hard. And so often around here, the thinking part is complex and it's hard. And we have to go home and tell our constituents the truth about math. But remember, the math will win. So how many of you have heard about, hey, we have people out protesting. They're terrified there's going to be cuts. Okay, let's actually have a moment of truth about math. This was baseline. Over the next 10 years, we were going to spend $86 trillion. Next 10 years, CBO baseline, we're going to spend $86 trillion. The reconciliation.
I don't want to hear that shit, DC. Y'all didn't bring nobody up. I don't want to hear that shit.
Budget had what, 1.3 trillion in cuts, and if we got lucky and did everything, you might get to 2. So we're talking about 2 trillion of cuts over 10 years on 86 trillion of spending. That's what the left over here is losing their minds over because they need something.
Yes.
What lies
they've lost the working middle class. They've lost so much of American voters.
Say what?
What lies were playing the congressman? What is he lying about?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Oh, he's talking about him dropping the link. Okay, man.
Yeah.
I'm a cuss, motherfucker. I dropped the link as soon as I got up here. Did I not, AB?
Yes, you did.
As soon as I got up here, no 3-hour preamble. I dropped the link as soon as I got up here. I want to hear that shit. You want us to come? Should have dropped the link up front. I want to hear that 2 hours later. Okay, we talked about 3 hours. Can we drop the link now? Fuck all that. Who's gonna wait 3 hours for you to drop a fucking link? Get the fuck out of here.
No longer trust them because they've spent a decade.
But it's your show. You can work it any way you want to, but don't invite us about going back and forth and wait 3 hours. I'm not gonna do that, man. I got things to do.
Decades, not telling them the truth about the math. Look, and it's not hard. Except the problem is 30% of that's borrowed. 30% of that's borrowed. And people are losing their mind that we're trying to cut $2 trillion on $86 trillion of spending. That's what this place has become. This place has become a clown show of math. Sorry, I hope not to hit you with those. Once again, I need to disclose, I've had a stunning amount of coffee today, so forgive me if I'm a bit cranky. We were trying to do projections of what our interest coverage would be this year. Now remember, let's see if I can make this make sense. How many of you saw just what was it, Thursday, Friday, the Federal Reserve actually lowered economic growth for this year and function for the next 3 years? They lowered us down to 1.7, I think. Just that lowering, if you do the math on the back of an envelope, it's not that hard. It's just a little less than $200 billion.
DC, did you not come to my comment section and invited me to come through? Did you not? Did you not? Did you not invite me over by in my comment section? Okay, if I want to discuss it, come on over and hit the link. Okay, that's what you said. Okay, I want to hear this gaslighting
of loss of tax receipts. If you plug that into our committed spending, it basically means what we're going to have to borrow. You may have interest this year of 1.1 trillion and a borrow this year when the economy is fairly good of 2.2 trillion. One of my folks has a number, it's up to 2.3, but let's stick with the 2.2 trillion of borrowing in a year when the economy is good. So think about this. We're functionally going to spend about $7 trillion this fiscal year. We're going to take in about $5 trillion. And this isn't a time when the economy is good. We're not in a pandemic. We're not in a war. We're not in a recession. And understand, when you take some of these charts of interest exposure into the future, there's one of my charts that shows in 9 budget years, interest, just interest, is over $2 trillion a year. Just interest. Why aren't we running around terrified here? I mean, if you care about your retirement, or someone that's crazy like my wife and I, we're older parents. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 9-year-old. You do realize for my 2.5-year-old, when he turns like 24, 23, 25, every tax in the United States has to have been doubled just to maintain baseline services. This is the morality of this place. And look, the last slide I'm gonna pound on just, it's called interest fragility. We had Ray Dalio in one of our offices, and those of you who don't know him, please look him up. You know, Bridgewater's CEO, founder. I think he's now stepped down from that, but the biggest hedge fund in America, happens to have 50 years of being one of the hyper experts on interest rate markets and debt markets, saying, you guys,
DC, I am not even coming to your channel anymore. Okay, okay, to hear whatever the hell you're talking about. I am not. Okay, I'm not even going to mention you anymore. Okay, just like Angry Man, I am not. So whatever it is you arguing about, I don't care about. Okay, I don't. You know, go do you.
These are screwed. You guys have a real interesting problem. The United States and other countries are binging on debt. The United States borrows about 40% of all the world capital that goes into sovereign loans. His argument is, your problem is there's not enough savings in the world. We are consuming more money, us, China, Europe. Now Germany's going into the debt markets as they're raising their spending caps. What happens in a world when there's a shortage of borrowable money? Remember, every day when we borrow,
on my channel, I can say any fucking thing that I want to. Okay, anything I want to. If you come up, AB brings you up. I don't even bring your ass up. Okay, it's not me.
Borrow what, $6 billion a day? Functionally, that debt has to be.
I don't know, for that little 2 minutes. I don't even know how you fucking found the channel for that little fucking 2 minutes. Okay, I really don't. If that's what you're flipping out about, then boss, you need to go sit on somebody's couch. Okay.
Sold. Most of it's actually financed domestically. You know, it's in this pension, it's in this bank, it's this, and then foreigners, except the foreigners have been lowering their U.S. debt because they're having to finance their own governments. And you start to look at our interest payments, And there's this concept called a term premium. When we make the bond markets nervous, we pay higher interest rates. So the clown show will go around and say, well, let's just not pay our debts. Hey, we're up against the debt ceiling. Let's just not raise it. Okay. Yeah, fine. I mean, I enjoy your decade of world depression, because when you collapse the US currency, you also collapse the world. Stability is our goal. Stability is how you minimize interest rates. And if you're financing 37 trillion and another 22 trillion, plus whatever else we're going to stack on top of that over the next decade, you really want the debt markets to think we're acting like adults. Because in many ways, when you look at these charts and you see about our interest coverage and how fragile we are, the bond market basically may be the greatest influence on this government. So how many people have you seen come behind these microphones ever talk about debt? And yet, the one thing we're not allowed to tell our voters, our public, our staff, each other, is the truth. What drives debt? Over the next 10 years, almost 100% of U.S. sovereign debt issue will be to cover interest and Medicare. In 7.5, let's call it 8 years, the Social Security Trust Fund is empty. And that first year, we have to make a decision. Are we going to let poverty of seniors double when they get a 21% cut in their checks?
Yeah.
Or how much are we going to raise taxes? Are we actually going to do something complex, fix the system and make all the adjustments and those things? Except the moment you actually talk about saving Social Security, they have a consultant on their side, on the Democrat side, writing an attack ad because they care so much more about winning the next election than the morality of not doubling senior poverty. And the brain trust that runs around says, oh, just raise it.
Yes. Say it again, white boy. They care about winning the next election instead of solving the problem. Yes.
Cap, okay. Except you just covered 38% of the shortfall. What do you want to do with the rest? 38% of the shortfall is our math, meaning that first year. So if the trust fund of Social Security is empty on 2033, 2034, the full year, 608 billion was our estimate on that first year. Think about that. Think about that scale. And then you hold up a chart like this. This is CBO's number of the next 30 years. Non-defense and defense discretionary actually have a positive balance, meaning they grow slower than tax receipts. Medicare, Social Security create 124 trillion of debt during that 30 years.
Let me pause this for a second. I actually want to show, since we got medical people in the building, okay, I actually want to play this one by Inside China Business. Let me know if you can see this, okay?
You haven't put it up yet.
See it?
Yes.
Y'all see it? Let me know if you guys can see it.
Yeah, they can see it.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. This is China is solving cancer and building miracle drills. Wall Street buys them and charges 100 times the amount. Okay. This is what's going on, right? This is what he's talking about reducing cost. Okay.
Good morning. The business model for Western biotech and pharmaceutical companies is to let Chinese labs and researchers do the most innovative research and drug development. Then our companies sign licensing deals with Chinese companies, get those medicines approved in the United States and Europe, then mark up the price 50 times. Then they discount those drugs that'll be sold in Canada or in Europe, so patients there think the Americans are getting ripped off, and sick people in Canada and Western Europe feel better about paying 30 times what patients here in Asia pay. The only value add that our pharmaceutical companies offer is in the packaging and in their know-how to work the bureaucracies at the FDA or in Europe.
Doesn't it sound like the luxury brands a lot?
To get the made in China drugs approved there. Then the drugs go into a box with their brand name on it. It's really as simple as that. And that model is worth hundreds of billions of dollars a year. That system will work until Chinese companies can offer their treatments to patients directly. China is opening up its system as we speak, here in mainland China and later on Hainan Island. And it's happening now. The patients come to China directly because they can get the latest treatments available without waiting on the FDA or for European regulators to greenlight a drug a few years from now. or if they don't want to wait a year to get an MRI or an appointment to see a specialist.
Wait a year to get an MRI, a special appointment to see a specialist, right? Okay. Chinese healthcare, right?
At home. The rich patients are already coming here. Wealthy patients in China have been using these Chinese medical centers for years, but soon enough they'll be joined by middle-class patients who will be coming for the same reasons rich people do now. They'll also be saving money. It's cheaper to fly to China and stay in a luxury hotel, get treatment, then fly home than it is to pay our doctors and drug companies at a local hospital. And it's faster too. That is to say that as China fully opens up their hospitals, then later on Hainan to patients from around the world, the Western business model for healthcare delivery will fall apart. Until that time comes, here is the system now. This explains it best, a feature in Biopharma Dive. David Lee is the head of a startup company that was looking for a biotech partner who could do the research on a few drugs they believed would have a big market potential. Drug targets, as they're called. And he learned that Chinese biotechs were already working on them. He went to Shanghai and Suzhou. Those cities are really close, about an hour apart by car. And there are many biotech companies there, hundreds of them. It's ruthlessly competitive. They're trying just to stay alive, creating more value than the companies down the street. He figured out in a few minutes the same thing that our biggest drug companies have, that it's easier and faster and cheaper for them just to hire the Chinese to do all the work and then sign licensing deals. There's no need to talk to sick patients or spend a lot of time in labs. Just fly to Shanghai with a suitcase full of money and set up meetings with Chinese companies who are working with the patients and doing the lab work. JP Morgan, the big investment bank, hosted a big healthcare conference. Make of that what you will. And everyone there agreed that this is how the industry works now, and it's growing fast. This CEO said that our Western labs are losing their edge, and it's Chinese innovation which is driving the industry forward now. Here's an example. Keytruda is from Merck. It's an immunotherapy drug and the most profitable drug industry-wide. A Chinese company, Akeso Therapeutics, built a drug that performed better than Keytruda, and it was snapped up by another company, Summit Therapeutics. Here are the prices for Keytruda. Each dose costs either 11.
Why don't you go, if you want to know his background, why don't you go look for yourself, okay? You don't have to trust him. I'm playing him. You don't have to trust what I'm saying. Go look for yourself, okay? Don't believe me.
Read for yourself.
Read for yourself. Stop being lazy.
$1,795 or $23,590. That's for one dose, depending on whether the patient goes once every 3 weeks or once every 6 weeks. That treatment continues until things get worse, or things get much worse, or for 2 years is what I think this means. So I hope you have an expensive house you can sell if you're on Keytruda. But this new Chinese drug works better than Keytruda. So now Summit is going to be setting the prices on it, probably even higher than Merck does for the Keytruda. And investment analysts have a strong buy on Summit shares based on what's possible now with this Chinese drug. Annual sales in the double-digit billions, and the company could make a strong takeover target from other companies, like Merck, ironically. So that's the system. Chinese biotech firms move faster with lower costs. Clinical trials can begin in under 18 months compared to several times that in the United States. China has a lot more people doing the research. China has the supply chains, so everything just costs less. Chinese firms pay just a fraction of what US companies do, and they have better access to a lot more patients. Chinese companies are also very strong at Me Too better. That is taking existing drugs that are already on the market, like Keytruda, and building more effective ones. For anything that is being done anywhere, come to China, and there are dozens of versions of it. Chinese labs are also more innovative in tackling the more difficult drugs and therapies. This is all expensive, though, even in China. And
go investigate for yourself, okay? Now investigate for yourself.
They're motivated to get licensing deals with big Western names. And our biggest drug makers are motivated to get medicines so that they can get them approved, and new patent protections and price guarantees are secured in our home markets. Venture capital is moving in. 9 figures is 100 million up to $1 billion. And these companies are raising money to buy cheap drugs developed here in China.
He has a Substack. Why don't you join his Substack, okay?
And do the same thing Summit just did. These red lines going straight up is how much our companies are paying upfront to license Chinese-made drugs, basically from zero to over $2.5 billion in a single year, with a lot more coming. This piece was written by David Lee instead of about him. China's biotech sector is bearing fruit as a result of being part of China's Made in 2025 plan from 10 years ago. Now the industry is thriving, and China's science parks are many times bigger than Boston's or Silicon Valley's. There's a massive shift in global biotech underway, and China sets a new standard of research and development. Capital will flow to China because this is where the highest productivity is. Here's the problem for China today, the second paragraph. China biotech is fast, but they are limited in their understanding of the commercial value of their drugs in the Western markets. Without access to the key opinion leaders and the treatment gap, the Chinese struggle with how to pick targets and produce molecule profiles. And I'll be honest, I don't understand that part much. I think what he's saying is that China is building super drugs and don't appreciate how valuable they are until a hedge fund shows up and gives them $100 million in exchange for licensing rights. And as a normal person, it doesn't sound like they're doing a lot of work to earn these tens of billions of dollars a year. What's more, I also don't know why they're writing this down, publishing it in the public domain so normal people can read it and learn how we're all being screwed over. Here is the one place US and European companies have a comparative advantage. They know how much they can sell the drugs for to patients and how to make all the money. Here are three ways that all works. Number one, licensed drugs, or assets as they call them, then buy the licensing rights for the drug after the Chinese clinics have done all the hard work of de-risking the assets. A normal human being wouldn't use this language and instead say, making sure the medicine is safe. Anyway, strategy number two, venture capitalists can partner up with Chinese companies doing early stage work, which can be sold off to one of the giants after the treatment is proven. Here's an example where investors put in $245 million and more than quadrupled their money after GlaxoSmithKline bought them out. Big money maker number three, set up an umbrella of several Chinese companies that will do the research and patient testing here in China. And the umbrella company, Nuco, will own all the IP rights for all that research outside China. So I guess this is how our top doctors talk to each other now, and what our best and brightest learn when they head off to medical school, how to think and talk like investment banks. And I agree that these are clever, trillion-dollar ideas and strategies, but they are preconditioned on the idea that Chinese researchers are smart enough to develop life-saving drugs, but they're too stupid to figure out how to directly work with sick people outside China. Because when they do figure out that part, all these venture capitalists go away, along with all their giant profit margins. And that day is inevitable because Wall Street and venture capital, these are the only constituencies that benefits from the system that we have. The South China Morning Post has a good roundup with this lead, which is that cancer treatments literally cost 100 times more in Western markets than here. And headlines like this are routine.
Just that alone, right? Just if you can actually invest in that and cut 99% of the cost of treating cancer in Medicare, right? How much money would you save per year? Just in cancer alone.
Probably billions. Probably billions.
Like half $1 trillion just alone. Okay? Alone. Okay? There are answers. The thing is, nobody wants to get to the bottom of it because they're protecting each other. It is what it is.
In mainland China. It's just hard to find them translated into English. An experimental therapy to shrink cancer cells is this one. The world's first advanced clinical trials on liver cancer patients, which doubled life expectancy. A modified virus infiltrated and blew up drug-resistant liver tumors while building up immune systems. The trials were conducted on 40 patients where doctors here had given up. They had no more available treatments left, basically. Survival rates are poor. Fewer than 1 in 5 live longer than 5 years after diagnosis. The problem is that once the tumors become resistant to the treatments, it's just a matter of time. Here are the results. The patients in this study were able to return to immunotherapy treatment, and survival rates shot up. 4 patients saw their tumors shrink immediately. Overall survival times nearly doubled from 9 months to 17, and the docs think that this same therapy will work on other advanced cancers. Here's another one that doesn't even sound real. Chinese researchers disguised cancer cells as foreign pig tissue, causing patients' immune systems to go crazy to get rid of them. Staggering success, they call it here, because the testing was done on patients with advanced cancers that are beyond treatment. But the tumors either stopped growing or even shrank. 20 patients in this study, all with untreatable tumors, after 8 to 12 weeks of treatment, tumors stopped growing in 18 of them. One with stage 4 cervical cancer was cured, with 6 more going into remission. Just my summary, but here's what this sounds like. A cancerous tumor grows because our immune system don't know that it's a problem. These researchers in China figured out how to trick the patient's immune systems into thinking it's a piece of bacon growing inside their bodies. And the immune system kicks into overdrive to kill the thing. So if you have cancer and you read about these things China is doing, what are you hoping for? That some investors from JP Morgan's healthcare conference finds one of the companies that are doing this research, pays $1 billion for it, and gets it approved so you can pay them $1 million in your local hospital, assuming you live that long? Or would you rather buy a plane ticket to China's Hawaii and hang out there for 8 to 12 weeks and go to a Chinese hospital on Hainan once a week for an infusion and spend the rest of the time sitting on the beach? Everyone on Wall Street and all of the six-figure doctors that hand out drugs in the US and in the European hospital systems, they need all of us to wait on them, then to sell everything we've got so we can give them our money. Soon we won't have to. This is Xinjiang. Be good.
You know, I'm showing this not to say that you can believe him or not. I'm saying is there are answers out there. They're bullshit. That's what Schweiker is trying to say. We can actually reduce costs. It's about money. Medicare, as he said, is your biggest spend. Okay, you reduce that. You reduce Medicare costs by 50%. Okay, you could balance the budget. You literally balance the budget just off Medicare. Literally balance the budget. Are people talking about it? They're not even talking about it. Amongst other things, all the waste and corruption, all the kind of stuff that's going on inside the federal government and inside the schools, inside of all this kind of stuff, right? They're not even talking about it. Every state should have a Doge. Every state should have a Doge team, a Doge-like team in every state.
Some of them are asking to do that now that they see what Doge is doing. I forget the name of the states, but a couple of states are like, yeah, hey, can we get our own Doge team?
Gonna get our own Doge team. Yeah. This is my saying is this is the stuff we should be talking about, not Jasmine Crockett and her ratchet ass. Okay, this is my opinion. And
or worrying about Kamala every 5 seconds.
Come out every 5 seconds. The thing is, what DC doesn't know, if the Black Brain Trust didn't pull you in it, you wouldn't be in it. For the most part, AB doesn't really care about the Black Brain, about the code breakers for the most part, or DC. Okay, we have pretty much left them alone for the most part. We don't go in on them or talk about them very much. Okay,
no.
The only time we talk about them is when the Black Brain Trust brings them up.
And we barely talk about the Black Brain Trust. I can't remember last time I actually mentioned them on one of my shows.
Really, since the election, there's really no need to talk to them anymore for the most part. Martin Muhammad says, AB Media just checking in on this beautiful Saturday. We said we always wanted to ask, what's the clock? And okay, this in the right hand corner is okay. Say if you want to come up, it's a timer. So if you want to talk uninterrupted, everybody gets muted up. It's a 2-minute clock. I said, right. Do you want your 2 minutes? Most people never reach the whole 2 minutes. Okay. You really want, because what will happen is they'll keep trying to interject and talk and talk to you. So, hey man, what do you want to say? Well, I just want to say something. Okay, you got 2 minutes. But they know once those 2 minutes expire, you can't talk about it no more. That's why they don't want to do it. Well, that's what the clock is for. Anyhow, it's been 2 hours, man. We didn't mean to go this long. And they you telling me that everybody, especially Black branches that actually wanted to get on, they dropped the link. They didn't join, or they could have invited us to join. Okay, because you saw me in the chat. And most of the thing is, if we can't get up, we can simulcast. But you found us all the way over here. Now you came over here talking all that shit over on my channel, but thing is, you could have said the same thing on your channel. Like you're fair, dude. I don't care. You and your other 20 watchers, you're fine. If that's what you want, I have no problem with it. Okay. Most of the time, you guys get brought up is because the Black Brain Trust and that crew is bringing you up. Okay, we don't. For the most part, we don't even bother you. We don't even bother you. At the times, the last time me and AB were up there, we were not treated nicely.
Nope.
We're not treated nicely. You didn't let us say where you're wrong. Okay, you didn't do that. You talked through us, and you got belligerent with us and all that kind of stuff. So I said I was done, and then you come back on my on my channel in my comment section and say that if I have to have a disagreement with you, go hit the link and disagree. Okay, I said, man, I already tried with you. And so this time, it took 3 hours for them to actually drop the freaking link.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. Anyway. I said the USA budget is 775 billion Social Security, 498 billion net interest. Okay, healthcare is 478 billion, and Medicare is 466 billion. Okay, yeah. Is that the budget? What is the budget for? Because Schweiker said the biggest budget spend was Medicare. It was changed.
Even though the military.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's what Schweikert says, but I'll take. Yeah, it is over 478 billion health. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's 469 million Medicare. So we have basically health. If you add those two things together, almost $1 trillion. Yeah. Oh, that's the 2025 budget. Okay. That's this budget. It hasn't happened yet. Okay.
Okay.
There are ways to do things. Okay, and that's what we should be talking about, because the only reason Doge is there is because of the budget. Okay, the only reason he's doing this is because of the budget. The only thing they're doing this is because what's going on as far as the bonds and the dollar. Okay, so all this stuff that's happening is because of money. And what they talk about, Jasmine Crockett doing what? I don't understand Jasmine Crockett piece, or the piece about a protest a protest with Margie Taylor Greene. Okay, people got protests, they got walked out. Okay, even tased. Okay, why is that a big deal?
Yeah,
or even how white people look at Carmelo Anthony. What does that have to do? Yeah, their town halls happens all the time. It happens in what is it, district meetings, right? For city council meetings. It happens all the time. Why does it rise to the level of,
if I'm not mistaken, she probably had some since then, but Nancy, if I'm not mistaken, Nancy Pelosi a couple of weeks ago got booed out of one of her
her
town halls.
Town halls. Okay.
Trying to get the word out. Town halls.
Town halls. Yeah.
Yeah.
But which is important. I guess it's important if you want, for about 5 minutes. But the thing is that really the most important thing that's going on right now? But I'm misinforming people,
No.
and in my analysis of political system is average at best. Okay. What do you show? We come up with Jasmine Crockett. Is that it? Or what's his name? What's his name? Talked about to white supremacists. Is that it?
Jason Whitlock and Nick
Jason Whitlock and Nick Fuentes. Really? Is that it? And you guys are experts in political matters. Is that it? That's all I'm saying. They act like it's W. The thing is, if it's entertainment, that's fine. I get entertainment. Okay, if you're trying to get the most, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, AB.
Even they admitted somebody lied to us. Like even they admitted on their own show.
There was paradox. Yeah, he said that somebody lied to him. And he was upset because all the people misled him.
Just because it did not turn out the way I thought it was going to turn out.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, they went in on us until we were misinformed, and we don't know what we're talking about. Blah 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 blah. We called every little detail right down the line. We even showed you beforehand. Okay, AOC actually came out and said it. Okay, beforehand. Okay, we showed you during the Democratic convention. What what's his name said it behind the scenes of that it was that they were pushed into it. Okay. Maxine Waters said the same thing. I showed people all of this well before the election even happened. But I don't know what I'm talking about. My thing is, okay, if I don't know what I'm talking about, please prove it. Yet they haven't proved not one thing yet on either side. The inner schism. The thing is, Rael, it's not as big a schism as you think it is, because one thing that taught me that it's not as big a schism as you think it is Ukraine war, right? They all got behind this shit, okay? Republicans and Democrats, they all got behind funding the money. They all lied, okay, and kept this shit secret. Immigrants, they all lied and kept this shit secret, right? Nobody said anything about the immigrants and why they were here and why they were didn't even admit they were actually being on welfare for the most part. They wouldn't even admit that shit until we actually uncovered it. If we had not uncovered that shit on air on our channel, they never would have said shit. Okay, they never would have said anything.
Oh yeah, I was talking to DC about that one day. Oh, come on, AB, the immigration thing is not a big deal. Is that why other illegal immigrants were complaining about it? Yes, other illegal immigrants. They were getting so much welfare. Other illegal immigrants started complaining about it.
I mean, if they want to talk, that's one thing. You're an expert, Sauchi. That's why. Okay. And what percentage of the population knows what you know? I bet it's less than 99. It's less than 1% that know what you know.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like 1/10 of 1%.
Yeah. You're the 0.01% child of people that know this shit. Okay. The thing is, the public would not have known it. Okay. Would not have known where to look. Okay.
I gotta look at that book he suggested a while back. Oh, what's the name of that book?
Which one? Ask. He's right there. Ask him.
No, I got it. I got it already. It's like Money something.
Okay.
Let's see.
I'm not saying that you can't critique repubs, but it's fair to critique Biden failed in a lot. Don't act like FDR. He was FDR. Dude was a disaster. He was a disaster. Everybody's saying the same thing. You know. The thing is, Biden is trying to whether he succeeds or not. Trump is the Joker. I'm not gonna lie. Trump is the Joker. Okay. Joker is in charge of Gotham City right now. But the thing is, what will he do? And so far, some things that I like, some things I don't. Like the guy in El Salvador. Okay. My thing is, why are you going to the mat, keeping that guy there? There's got to be something. There's more to it. This story, okay, than they're actually saying.
Yeah, and the guy, Clashing Over Commerce is the book he suggested.
I said what?
Clashing Over Commerce is the book he suggested.
Oh, okay.
A while back. It's a long book too, 1,000 pages. Good Lord.
They have welfare available for minors that allows you to get birth control and abortion without parents' approval. That's a lot of this stuff that's going on with the state. The thing is, it should come out and say, the parents do not own their children, right? The children belong to the state. Okay. If you go back, that's what me and Gigi went back and looked at the Court of Chancery, the 10 years doctrine, all kinds of stuff. Kids belong to the state. They don't belong to you. You have parental guardianship. Okay. You have parental rights. The kids do not belong to you. They can take your kids at any time. Okay. Kids don't belong to you. They used to before the 10 years doctrine. They don't belong to you anymore. The Court of Chancery, which is a family court, they have jurisdiction over your children. Okay, no matter what you say.
Which is why some of these knuckleheads are trying to Make it so they don't have to tell you if they transition your children.
Exactly. That and the voters protest against that. Okay, with left and right. It's not just it's not because there's a big schism in the left about this shit. Okay, especially older feminists that are not liking this kind of crap. Okay, it's not what they signed on for. Anyhow,
yeah.
Let me let you go get some rest, man, because I know you got a show to do. And thanks for stopping in. Now you're telling me they dropped the link and nobody came up. Okay, not even the Black Brain Trust. And nobody.
I was looking. I thought somebody would have came up.
I did too. It was up. The link was up for like an hour and a half. And the thing is, I dropped the link. He could have came up on my platform. I dropped the link. But I got things to do. But the thing is, you got things to do. But the thing is, you're in the chat for an hour. Come on, man. All this fucking propaganda.
Funny story though. Then I'm gonna drop after this.
Okay.
Somebody in the chat told me one day when I was in the chat. They were in the chat. Somebody in the chat tried to tell me, "Man, you need to touch grass." And I laughed at him because, particularly, this is during the summer. Particularly, man, after listening to the bullshit they be having on their streams, I have to go outside and walk just to get some air, just to walk off the bullshit that I just heard.
What do you think? We're incels and we stay inside all day?
Oh gosh.
Go out and touch grass. Okay, we're talking to regular people that work, have jobs, have lives. That some have. A lot of people have families. What do you think? What's things going on? We're not when a 19-year-old gamer's inside on Twitch. Come on, man.
No, I got to perform emotional labor for about 4 hours a day. Go to the dialysis center, and most of my techs are Black women.
Oh yeah, and they telling you about their about their life. And but they love you. They love you though, don't they?
Yeah. Someone asked, like, "Are you gonna buy me a Tesla?" Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
But are you gonna buy me a Tesla? They asked you that.
Yes. Are you gonna buy me a Tesla? Well, she kind of changed that up a little bit. Like, I don't want a Tesla no more. I want a BMW. I'm like, oh, you don't want your Tesla to get burned up, huh?
Black women. And she black, ain't she?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and crazy as hell. Probably likes me, but I don't want to touch her.
Oh, no, not at all. But I'm sure the punani is fire though.
Anyhow, I don't. She's 20. She's in her 20s too. I don't want to.
Oh no. She wants you to be the sugar daddy, huh?
But that's all I got for now. I'm out.
All right, man. Go get some rest.
I will.
All right, good people. All right, good people. We gone. This is just an impromptu thing. It wasn't meant to be all serious and stuff like that. But I guess it is what it is, right?
What can I say? Mamba out.
Музыка Денис Шедер.